So have you found that sometimes you've had an intent for like a product, but then actually like reading reviews and things like that, actually you're answering like other queries or issues that people have?
Yeah, I think definitely I'm still like the vision behind all of our products.
Nice.
And I'm a product packaging geek. It's like what I've done my whole career. Like I love formulation, packaging, consumer insight. And I think it just helps that I have a personal, like lots of the products are personal to me.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not just, let's launch a product Katy wants. Like we definitely look at market trends and category insights.
Yeah.
And the categories that we're playing in are definitely underserved and they are ripe for innovation. And I think one of the reasons we've been successful is because the consumer demand is there. Like people are wanting, full body deodorant is a huge addressable market category and the products that existed have just been quite functional and underserving. But also it's come at a time where retailers have also been wanting those products. So I would say everything that Luna Daily makes sits within body care. Like we have no intentions to go into facial skincare or hair care.
Yeah.
So everything for us is neck down. All of our products are designed to be multifunctional and to serve women at different life stages because often the category entry point for a woman into our products is because they've gone through a life stage like puberty or motherhood or menopause, which just means that there are, as well as hormonal changes that impacts physiological and like skin changes. You may go through menopause and all of a sudden you've got drier skin and different odor and you're more susceptible to UTIs, or like postpartum, like no one tells you you're going to stink and sweat. Or when you're on your period because of blood, your pH is different and so you are more susceptible to getting gynecological issues like thrush because of the pH imbalance that blood causes. And so I would say it helps that I'm the target audience, but it's not just what Katy wants to wish existed, but I think that helps.
Yeah, definitely. And how did you find your audience? Because it must be challenging in some instances because although it's multifunctional, some of your products, to your point, are seen to be like taboo, or people don't want to admit that they want something like that. Or I think social media, as an example, blocks you talking about certain things
definitely.
like that. How did you get any sort of awareness? I've gone completely off script, but
totally fine.
I was interested in how you found your people.
So I would say there's a couple of things. I would say early adopters for some of our products are absolutely people that are proactively searching for solutions to problems. And that means they are proactively searching for, like for me, like I can't use traditional body washes. I'm too sensitive. I have really sensitive skin or I may have intimate skin like concerns. But actually in general, there's like just a broad, sensitive skin. Or, I have ingrown, so I'm looking for a product to help with that, or I'm worried about getting stretch marks through pregnancy. So I say we have a category of women that are early adopters where they are very proactively looking for better solutions than what's existed. Like I struggle with sweat, odor or chafing. I want a full body deodorant. I want something that is natural, non-staining, aluminium free. And then that's how they find us. I think on a broader level and the bigger total addressable market, it's just the general body care category. And I think that's where we've had success because, the fact that it's a body wash that you happen to be able to use on your vulva is a very different proposition to this is an intimate wash. Do you know?
Yes.
And I think that's an opportunity for us, but it also creates a bit of a challenge because in a world where, so if I think about the early adopters category, for years and years, a few incumbent brands have dominated in the space. And we can all think of those brands in those subcategories. And the category is growing, which is great because it means the awareness is growing. But still today, I'm seeing brands come into the space that I believe are deliberately misleading people, either for clickbait or they are preying on the confusion that women still feel because ultimately it's been generations of misinformation that's existed. So for example, and I'm not going to use too much detail here, but I think it's interesting. Your vulva and your vagina are quite different. Your vulva is your external skin. It's very similar to skin everywhere else on your body. It's very similar to skin under your armpits, actually. It's why you grow hair in both regions. It has the same pH as the rest of your skin. It's skin. The femme hygiene industry has marketed and lied to women, I think, and said, your intimate skin is a different pH, so you need specific products. That's incorrect. Yeah. Your vagina is a different pH, which is internal, which never needs to be washed, even with water. So you shouldn't be using any products there. And actually, all of the products that we make and the industry makes are not designed for internal use because they'd have to be medical devices. And so they wouldn't even be allowed to be used internally. But all of the brands deliberately talk about this like different pH, or like it's perfectly suited to your vaginal microbiome, because they know that women, that's what we've been wrongly taught.
Yeah.
And so they're going to try and sell them more product. And so they're going to try and sell them a product that probably is going to cause a problem, because then 1 in 3 women are using these sorts of products inside, even though you're not meant to. And then they're then creating the problem to then probably sell them the solution.
Yeah.
And so the thing that frustrates me is that I see lots and lots of brands doing it, and I see the clickbait, because they're preying on something that, we know now how people search on TikTok is it's like a Google search. It's like, I'm worried about this thing. And so your video will come up, will be super clickbaity, super scary. It'll get loads of views. And I find that really hard because it's so against our brand ethos. But it's how do you get cut through without doing the shock tactic or ultimately the misinformation and lies. And so I think our positioning is our strength, but it's also difficult. And then you overlay the shadow banning piece that, I actually did a post about this yesterday, that last week in the House of Commons, they had a big discussion on all of the women's health terms that are shadow banned. So they've confirmed if you use these words online, you will be shadow banned.
It's insane. That is just insane as a concept, isn't it?
We've been saying it for years, and we've been part of a group of brands. There's 2 amazing companies. One is called the Centre for Intimacy of Justice, and the other is called Censorship. And they've done amazing research to show that 95% of women's health brands have had content shadow banned, and it impacts revenue. But more importantly, it impacts that women are not seeing content that they need to see. We weren't taught at school. Social media is the number 2 source of education after school. And so people rely on social media to find out this information, and it's being shadow banned. And obviously on a podcast I can say them, but it's words like period, endometriosis, infertility, breastfeeding, PCOS, menopause,
just all the key things that
basically
women
just
have
like
to go through.
none of these words are like sexual.
No.
None of them are like crude.
Yeah, exactly.
They're anatomically correct words around conditions that are very prevalent.
Yeah.
And in a world where like social media, you can objectify women and you can sexualize women, but you can't talk about, specific body parts. And that's a real challenge. And that's not just a challenge for our brand.
Yeah.
No.
It's a challenge for lots of brands in the women's space.
And for society,
And for
right? Because you're not
society.
getting the education and the information you
Yeah.
need. Like,
It's you're not getting the education, the information you need. And also, like, I'm proof that if you normalize it, it's no longer embarrassing. Like, our strapline is head, vulva, knees and toes. And
love that.
I no longer feel like 19-year-old Katy. Like, I feel free of those shackles of shame. And since having a daughter, like, even more so, I'm like, I want her to grow up in a world where it's not the same. Like, I no longer feel it and I'm not embarrassed.
Yeah.
But I'm like proof that I've been so surrounded by it, I just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And, I think just normalizing words and not having to use euphemisms and being able to see content that is just like really helpful for women. It's kind of mad that we're sat in 2026. I
crazy.
mean, on the one hand, the fact that the debate is being had is a good sign, because it means that they're, first of all, admitting that it happens. Like, for
Yeah.
years, people, the platforms have said, no, it doesn't exist. Shadow banning doesn't exist. It's like, well, we can see it exists. So that is a step forward, but I think it's still one of our biggest challenges.
And that feels like a big part of what you're doing within the brand. It's not just about selling products, tell me if I'm wrong, but it's also about educating and getting rid of these things being a taboo, which I think is, as a consumer, really nice to see that you actually care about your consumers as opposed to just caring about margin and revenue. Like, when we were off camera before, you were talking about how amazing it is to read some of the reviews and how that makes you feel. Which I think is...
Yeah, and I think, most founders would say you don't set up a business, like, it's not the easy route to make loads of money.
Yeah.
Like, it's not preaching
Yes,
to converted,
yeah.
And so if that's your objective,
Yeah.
Even just statistically, 99% of businesses will fail before they reach their first million.
Yeah.
The number of businesses that make it to being a unicorn is X. And I think they are linked, because I think today you can't run a brand that it's just vacuous product. There are examples where you can, but for the most part. But for me, that's not why I set up Luna Daily. And without getting all like evangelical, it's like, we're on Earth once. Like,
Yeah.
everything about, like, we're all going to die, and everything about our lives is probably going to be forgotten. Like there's a stat that like most people don't even know the names of their grandparents, which means that like in a couple of generations, probably everything about our lives is going to be gone. And we spend more time at work than we do anything than maybe sleeping. But in my case, I definitely work more than I sleep at the moment. And so like, if you're going to do something, like do something that like gets you up in the morning, gives you passion, but also like, I don't know, I want to feel proud that like whatever success Luna Daily has, that like I might have made a bit of an impact. And God, don't get emotional, Katie. But when I read the reviews, and having worked in the beauty industry for so long, there is only so emotional somebody get about a new mascara or micellar water or skincare product. But the reviews that people write about our products aren't just like, oh, great new body wash. It's like, I'm 49. I have spent my entire life searching for a product that doesn't irritate my skin. I'm going through the menopause and it's gotten even worse. I discovered your product. I am never going back. Thank you so much. And it's just like, that's why you do what you do. Because like in a world, we are a consumer brand. So there's no denying that we are adding consumerism to the world. But for me personally, like it's too hard. Like it's grueling and it's hard work and it's, so if you don't have that, I don't know how people survive.
Yeah.
If it's just for this, like just for money. On the flip side, obviously you have to run a sustainable business model. Like you can't be a charity. But for me, that bit is so important.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that's so important, right? It's something we really believe in.
Definitely.
In terms of like just having some sort of purpose, because you are only here once.
Yeah.